All right, please be seated. All right, we will now have the presentation of colors by the Shawnee American Legion Post 327 Honor Guard.
Detail. Halt. Post. Colors. Left. Face. Work. On.
Now the Schlegel High School Band.
Cruiser. On. Shoulder. On. Right. Face. Forward. Third.
All right, you can be seated. Thank you to the Schlegel High School Band for that rendition of the national anthem. And welcome to all of you on this happy occasion and on this happy day. My name is Julie Robinson. I'm the Chief Judge of the United States District Court for the District of Kansas. And on behalf of the judges of this court, I welcome all of you here for this special occasion. Seated with me here on the bench are some of our judges, all of whom are stationed here in the Kansas City Division. Of course, we have judges that are stationed in Topeka and Wichita courthouses as well. But starting from my left is Judge Robert Berger. He's a United States bankruptcy judge. This is Judge Dan Crabtree. He's a United States District Judge. This is Chief Judge James O'Hara. He's the Chief United States Magistrate Judge for our district. And this is Judge Teresa James. She's a magistrate judge for our district as well. We are very pleased to be a part of this occasion and the swearing in of our new representative to this congressional district, Sharice Davids, and we're grateful and thankful that all of you are here today to join us. I'd at this point like to introduce to you the Honorable Kathleen Sebelius. She was the 21st United States Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. And of course, she served us so well for many years here in Kansas as the 44th Governor of Kansas. I introduce and welcome Governor Kathleen Sebelius, Governor and Secretary Kathleen Sebelius.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the high school, the Schlegel High School Band. You sounded great. I am so pleased and honored to be a part of this celebration for Sharice Davids and the Kansas swearing in of our new member of Congress. I do bring greetings from our new governor, who is in Washington, D.C. at her first National Governors Association meeting, and wanted to make sure I sent her congratulations along. I remember well being a governor in a very similar position to Laura Kelly, where there was a Republican president and mixed houses of Congress and one Democrat in the delegation, and that was Dennis Moore from the 3rd District. So Laura Kelly, hopefully lots of Kansas issues are resolved at the federal level in a bipartisan fashion, but it's always nice to know that there's somebody from your particular branch who is looking out for you. I don't think there's any question that Sharice Davids has an incredibly inspirational story. Her mom is here today, who raised Sharice in a military family. She worked hard to get through college. She went on to an Ivy League law school. She did tribal work. She was a White House fellow. But most importantly, she chose, with all the options available to her, to come back to her home state of Kansas and to work to make a difference, not only for this district, but for our state and our country. I also know a little bit about what she went through to get this job. It's a job application that most of you would never want to do. It particularly is not easy as a first-time candidate to raise money and inspire people and run in a multi-candidate primary, run against an incumbent, but she was willing to do all of that. You know, I was raised in a political family. My dad used to say there are people who run for office to be somebody, but the real folks run for office to do something. And I think that's the Congresswoman we have now elected to the 3rd District. And you can't run unless people feel like you're going to work and fight for them. And I am personally very excited to have somebody in D.C. who represents Kansas from my viewpoint and the state that I know and love. We've got a lot of tough challenges ahead in this country, figuring out how government is going to spend taxpayer dollars, dealing with climate issues for the next generations of Americans, recognizing that Kansas is a state that benefits from diversity and relies on workers who weren't born here, knowing that we're all God's children, regardless of the color of our skin and who we love and how we pray. We need somebody in D.C. who worked her way through college and knows what that's about and knows about the kids who are struggling with college debt, who knows what it's like to be raised by a single mom, who knows that she's a first American and the rest of us are immigrants who have benefited greatly from the bounty of this great country. I was in D.C. when the new Congress was sworn in, and I had an opportunity to join an amazing celebration for the first 2 Native American women ever elected to the United States Congress, one of whom is with us today. So I'm glad to be at her celebration in Kansas. I'm glad to have her come home at the beginning of her term and share with those of you who were not able to make it into D.C. And I want to thank her particularly for entering the political world at this very difficult and troubled time in our country. You inspire and lift up the next generation by breaking another ceiling and showing that without family fortune and connections, hard work and perseverance can achieve membership in the United States Congress. We're grateful that you're a member of Congress, a body where my father and father-in-law proudly served. And while lots of politicians talk about fighting for you, we actually have a member who's got a little experience in that arena. I will take a successful MMA fighter in the ring anytime. And when times get tough and when messes get really big, voters wisely know it's time to send in the women. So congratulations to Sharice. It's best wishes.
Thank you, Governor Sebelius. There are a number of people that are here that I'd like to recognize, many of whom are from the Kansas legislative branch or local executive or legislative branches. From the Kansas House of Representatives, Representative Valdenia Wynn and Representative Jared Owsley, and Susan Ruiz, Representative Susan Ruiz, and from also from the Kansas House of Representatives, Representative Ree Shue, and from the Kansas Senate, Dinah Sykes. We have, I believe, 3 members of the Wyandotte County Commission, Commissioners Ann Murguia and Melissa Bynum and Mike Kane. And I suspect my list is incomplete. So if you are a representative or senator in the Kansas House or otherwise serving us in some capacity in government, if you will raise your hand and we can recognize you as well. All right, well, thank you. All right, Representative Davids, I think it's time for the oath of office. I'll come down and join you. I, Sharice L. Davids, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God.
So help me God. Well, that certainly felt more emotional than when we did the swearing in on January 3rd. Well, thank you to everyone for being here today to commemorate my service in the 116th Congress. I'm so grateful, and I want to thank the Honorable Judge Robinson for presiding, and then to Secretary Sebelius for taking time out and coming in and your introduction. I really appreciate it. Can I get this? I'm gonna get this one. that really did hit me in the heart doing the swearing in with all of you. So thank you to the Schlegel Band for coming out today. I was loving the warm up too. And then to the Shawnee Legion, Shawnee American Legion Post 327. I didn't want to mess up the numbers. Thank you so much. Thanks for your service. So, as I said, I was officially sworn in to Congress on January 3rd, and it's been a pretty long 7 weeks. I've enjoyed most of it, but it was so important to me to have a ceremony here at home, and for so many people to graciously offer to help and to host. I really appreciate that, and this is an example, I feel like, of the importance of community and my service to the community, because although my name is on the door, or I get to wear I wear a little pin that signifies my service as a member of the 116th Congress, this really is about how our community can make our voices heard in Washington, D.C., and make sure that we are being represented well. So my main focus is really I actually ask people to please call me representative. That's my job. My job is to do the best I can to represent our community in Washington, D.C. And to do that, I have to be an active participant and make myself accessible while I'm at home. And I've been so lucky to have that in a number of different ways, from spending time with the KCK Police Athletic League over at St. Teresa's here in Wyandotte County, spending time in Olathe with the air traffic controllers, spending time meeting with business owners and nonprofits like Happy Bottoms and Lenexa. There's been such an amazing welcoming of this district office into the community, so that we can keep that accessibility there and open. So when I was running, I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that my view has been for a long time that the folks who are in Washington, D.C., and who are making decisions for us at the federal level that impact every single one of our lives on a daily basis, oftentimes are not interacting with, engaging with, or hearing the concerns, the issues that really impact our lives. And that is part of the reason why I want to make sure that our office is as accessible as possible. It's one of the reasons that, although I took over Kevin Yoder's office in Johnson County and Old Overland Park, that I'm also opening a Wyandotte County office to make sure that we're in every part of the community. And then we're also going to be going way out south in Spring Hill. We're going to be having next week some office hours, some mobile office hours, to make sure that we're trying to meet people where they're at, because it can be hard sometimes to access your member of Congress or city council or county commissioners. And so we want to try to make that as easy as possible. I'm so excited to be part of this time in history. I know Secretary Sebelius mentioned jumping into this at this time in history where there is so much going on, and sometimes things might feel a bit overwhelming. But I have a lot of hope and optimism. I'm an optimistic person, a realistic optimistic person. But I got into this because, as someone who grew up with a mom that served in the Army, and it's funny because I have this Constitution here right now, but I carry around a copy of the Constitution in my bag. I've been doing that for, I bet, like 12 years now or something, because I really genuinely feel like this is ours. It's mine as much as it is yours. In fact, this morning I spent time with with Judge Crabtree at a naturalization ceremony in this very room, where 90 people from 31 different countries took an oath to and became citizens of our country. And it was, as emotional as me doing our swearing in today, actually, because there's so many people who want to be part of this, who want to be part of our democracy and want to be part of our country. And that gives me hope. It gives me hope that there are so many people who know that, yes, we have issues, but yes, we have potential, and yes, we have opportunity. And it always helps me come back to that optimism when I think about the Declaration of Independence. I wish I would have brought the program from earlier, because as soon as I picked it up, I said, oh, this is my favorite part of the Declaration of Independence. Maybe that tells you a little bit about me being the type of person that would run for Congress. Yes, I have a couple of favorite parts. One of the things that I always come back to is that our Declaration of Independence says that our government derives its just powers from the consent of the governed. And that's us. The government has the power it has because of us, not because of anything else. And that means that we have the power to enact change in our government, whether it's local, state, or federal. And I take that so seriously that I am now the representative for this piece of our state and of our country. And my hope is that all of you will hold me to as high of a standard as I had to hold myself to even get here. And that means coming in to see us in our Wyandotte office or our Johnson County office or at our office hours, calling our office, letting us know what issues you have, because that's my job. That's our office's job, and we want to be here to do that. And it's part of what makes my favorite line in the Declaration of Independence so meaningful is at the end of the Declaration, it says that we will mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. I'm pledging to all of you those things. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Keep up the good work that you all are doing too.
Representative Davids invites all of you to join her now for a reception through these doors. The entire main hallway of the 6th floor will be our reception area, and I know that she will appreciate getting the chance to greet each one of you. So with that, court stands in adjournment.